For the fifth straight season, Notre Dame football is looking for a new quarterback to lead their team and to lead their offense. In 3 of the last 4 seasons, that guy has been a transfer. Not this year. This year, it's going to be a homegrown talent, somebody recruited by Notre Dame out of high school and has stayed with the program, will get the start by the end of this spring quarterback battle. Today is going to be the first of potentially many videos on this quarterback battle that is going to define the 2025 season for Notre Dame football. Guys, welcome in. This is the voice of college football on Notre Dame. I am your host, Patrick Previty, and we're going to be talking about the most consequential quarterback battle in Notre Dame recent history, probably since Deshaun Kaiser and Malik Zaire went at it to be the team that won to be the quarterback of the team that only won 4 games that year. Brian Kelly called it a draw all the way back 9 years ago, and that was probably just a sign of things to come. But make sure that you guys subscribe to the channel, coming out with Notre Dame football content as the season or as spring ball comes around and as the season ramps up. Stick in here if you want to know more and learn more and follow Notre Dame football. Make sure to subscribe. Okay, let's get into the stage setting part of this video for the quarterback battle. The 3 men at this, Steve Angeli, CJ Carr, Kenny Minchey, all have different kind of angles for why they could be the winner of this quarterback battle. All have shortcomings in their own right. Nobody is perfect, but they're all going to potentially get a shot. I think that the initial feeling, Steve Angeli has the experience, CJ Carr has the pedigree, and Kenny Minchey can potentially be a guy as a dark horse candidate, and he could potentially be a guy down the line and in the future, because depending on who gets it, we might see somebody transfer. Kenny Minchey, I think, regardless, might stay. But obviously, I'm no future teller, fortune teller. I don't know, but that's the stage that we have set right now. It's those 3 guys. It won't be anybody else. It's going to be coming from a guy who committed to Notre Dame back in high school. Okay, Steve Angeli is candidate number 1, the man of the hour from the Orange Bowl back against Penn State. When Notre Dame had no offense going, it was Steve Angeli who came in for an injured Riley Leonard. We thought maybe potentially out for the rest of the game. Riley Leonard felt like he got decapitated, Riley Leonard, and he was able to lead the Irish to a field goal, get some points before the half, was able to revive them, give them some momentum, help them win the middle 8. That was huge. Like I said, he's got the experience. He's got the experience. That's what we like to see. He's got one lone start, the 2023 Sun Bowl. That was against Oregon State. He played pretty well in that game, 232 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. He's the only player out of these 3 on this list here that has started a game. So that is also pretty important. Now, I think that in his 2 seasons, he's shown us some glimpses, but he hasn't obviously had a ton of playing time. He's only registered 245 total snaps. So regardless, no matter if we say he's got more experience than the other guys, he's got less experience than a lot of other starting quarterbacks going into 2025, but still more than the other guys. 72.5% completion percentage on his passes, 772 yards, 10 passing touchdowns, and a singular interception. That's all on 80 passing attempts. Those are his numbers for his career. One of the things that continues to be a potential shortcoming is just, can he reach that upper echelon level of quarterback? And I think a lot of people kind of forget that he was at one point a very highly touted recruit, going all the way back to 2022, which is kind of crazy to even say that out loud, all the way back to 2022, but he was a 4-star recruit, had 23 scholarship offers, and could have easily went somewhere else in the transfer portal, especially when Riley Leonard came to town. But he didn't. So this guy is somebody who you don't see a lot, especially with NIL, especially with the transfer portal, that wants to be in South Bend, wants to be a Notre Dame football player. And I think that could end up working in his favor. We'll have to wait and see. He's got the experience. He's got the want to be here. We'll just have to see if he can reach that level of play that we potentially have seen him at in the last couple of years. Now, moving to the next man. You guys probably are aware of who this is. I mean, who wouldn't be, right? CJ Carr was probably that first huge get that everybody was like, whoa, Notre Dame's got a guy at quarterback. This guy could be the quarterback of the future. And you were essentially going to pencil him in, right? He was going to be a starter at some point in his Notre Dame career. Well, that could be this spring or after this spring. He was a four-star recruit, similar to Steve Angeli, and he is the grandson of former Michigan coach Lloyd Carr. He was rated the number 2 pocket passer back in 2024 in the ESPN recruiting class. So he's got that level of cachet, as I mentioned earlier. He's got a pedigree, and people are going to expect him to be good just as they would expect somebody like Arch Manning to be good. Maybe not to that degree, but you get what I'm saying. Nepo baby type of style here. We're expecting CJ Carr to be somebody who can step in and be a great player for any program. Will that be for Notre Dame after this spring? Maybe. Who knows? Obviously, they're looking for leadership as far as, losing Riley Leonard, Notre Dame program, that is. And CJ Carr wasn't really a part of being a backup last season. And that's where his negatives end up coming up. He had an elbow injury to his throwing elbow, and he was out for pretty much the entire season. He heard it early on in September. And the coaching staff, Marcus Freeman, all them guys were saying, look, he's not going to play this year, regardless. I mean, if he's healthy or not. So we're going to take it slow. We're going to make sure that he's 110%. And, he told them in November that we've been overly cautious on his return to play. We're not going to just let him go out there. So he didn't really get any sort of run. And it makes sense, but he didn't really get a pass off last year. And it was Kenny Minchey who was the backup quarterback. But CJ Carr now should be fully healthy. They gave him the entire season to rehab and to get back, and they've certainly waited on him to come back. I think he'll be healthy. I don't think that that's a concern, but it's all about that. Can he pull up to this showcase and play well? Obviously, sophomore is his year. 4 snaps total for him in college football. That is going to be the question. Now, another question, if he loses, does he transfer? Probably. If he loses to Kenny Minchey, I think both these guys transfer if he wins. So we'll get to him in a second. But if Steve Angeli wins, maybe he goes and Minchey stays. But we'll have to wait and see. CJ Carr, obviously somebody who wants to get some play time and wants to be out there. Sucks that he had to rehab all season, but We'll see where it goes. He's got that pedigree. He's supposed to be that guy, but kind of an embarrassment of riches right now with the quarterbacks. Okay, next up, Kenny Minchey, third man of this race right now. I think a lot of people would probably rank him third, but he is not completely out of it, and he has not been eliminated just yet. I think they're going to give all 3 of these guys their fair shot, and Minchey is going to be that other guy. Now, as I mentioned earlier with Steve Angeli, he didn't have a ton of experience, but he's got more than these other 2. Minchey was the backup to the backup last season. He had 3 completions, 3 attempts, 16 yards, 1 rushing touchdown. Notre Dame went through a lot of recruiting drama to get him back in the day, back in 2023, if you guys can remember correctly. And they finally got him to flip from Pitt. So they wanted him. They wanted him to be here. They felt like they had a spot for him. Obviously, you don't want to miss out on a quarterback in an entire recruiting class. That puts you in a definite weird spot, especially when you're a high-profile program like Notre Dame. But they got him, okay? And, he knew that they were going to potentially land a transfer portal quarterback in 2024, and he was aware that the first couple seasons were about his development, but I definitely think he is going to want to show up, go out there, play pretty well. He will have the offseason to prove himself and, potentially have that great spring practice that could vault him into the second spot and vault him ahead of somebody else. But maybe like it's got like Carr who transfers, or if Angeli feels like he's getting the raw deal, maybe he goes. I mean, obviously I mentioned that he doesn't seem like he wants to go, but who knows what they end up deciding to do. But this transfer thing is just, you could see anybody transferring at the end of spring ball, then whether or not they want to compete in camp. But he will have his time and his moment in the sun to make sure that he proves to this Notre Dame coaching staff that he can play quarterback, be the starter for Notre Dame. All right, I wanted to go through a quick summary because I kind of was a little all over the place today. Hopefully I laid it out for you guys and you know a little bit more about the quarterback situation going into the spring. I'm also still continuously learning because, there's layers to this, especially with the who will transfer where if they lose kind of thing, because we don't really know what's going on in those players' heads and who they're talking to and who they're close with. But Carr will have the offseason to prove himself. He should be healthy. Angeli will be able to build potentially off of how he played in 2024. 2023, the only start, that was a long time ago. But he will potentially get a chance to build off of what he has done. He's probably, in my opinion, the leader in the clubhouse. CJ Carr at second. And then Kenny Minchey will get his first real shot at being a quarterback. He had 17 snaps last season. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments section below. Do you think, who do you think is going to be the starter? Do you think it's good that we're having this competition, or, just tell me anything that you think about this quarterback battle in 2025. Should be a very, very, very interesting spring. Well, that's all the time I have for you guys today. I will see you guys next time with more Notre Dame football content.